Coming up, folks, we've got green grass and green trees and green bushes. No flowers allowed for 400 years. Why ever not? King Charles II walking through with Queen Catherine. She turned and said, "Your Majesty, will you pick a flower for the prettiest lady?" He picked a flower and gave it to Nell Gwyn. Very unhappy queen. That's why it's called Green Park. We do get a bit of trouble over here, folks, with the art mob packing up. These art sales are on every weekend. Well, they call it art. So come down into the dark blue part of the game of Monopoly. In the middle of the road you have the big tunnel. This is where the double-decker trams used to go down and through and come up at Knightsbridge. Look what a lovely evening it is through there. Look at that, you'd never believe it, would you? Over here is the Hard Rock Cafe. The Americans couldn't get a decent hamburger, and they still can't get one. Down in the centre, the Duke of Wellington, our great general. Outside his old address, number 1 London. He's on horseback. In between the two, Great Britain's first nude male statue. The statue of David holding something. Many years ago, ladies in waiting came from Buckingham Palace through the fields and they gathered round the statue. There was a terrible commotion, terrible. One lady had a stroke, the other one couldn't reach. In the centre, Quadriga, the Angel of Peace, riding in a war chariot. War and peace over victory. Now I want to show you this Australian War Memorial. I hope the bus doesn't get in the way. I bet he will, yeah. On the wall there, there's waterfalls depicting lines of soldiers marching. Can you see it? No. Brilliant. This is Belgravia here, all the embassies over here. Buckingham Palace perimeter wall to our left. Now everybody look to our rear to the left. You see the big building there. That's the Lanesborough Hotel. Okay, Lanesborough, we've been to the Ritz. Nothing, that's the Lanesborough. That is the absolute bee's knees. Okay, my team, who went first last time? Who goes first this time? We do. We arrive at the Lanesborough, we're going to have the royal suite, we're going to have our own butler, chauffeur, silk sheets on the bed, gold tap on the jacuzzi. How much? Royal Suite, Lanesborough Hotel, 1 night. £5. We're saying £5,000. You're saying 3,000 from the little pence. Sorry, 4,500. This is the Royal Mews, and that's where the stable boys used to lower ropes from their windows for their lady friends to climb up when it was dark. The builders remembered this. Look at where they repaired the wall. Look in the joints of the wall here, look. Look carefully. So they never forgot that old story. Ropes to climb up with to the bedrooms. I don't know if it was lucky boys or lucky girls. Here are the Royal Stables, children. Beautiful horses. The Queen's horses. The Queen's carriages. Here are the Royal Galleries. Buckingham Palace coming up very soon to our left. one of my grandsons, he's come off the river. He's not so fond of the river, and he's got a job as a gardener. But he's had to go abseiling to learn it. Buckingham Palace over here, children. They're changing guard at Buckingham Palace. You can only see the side of it from here. Boats are not allowed in front of it. We're not allowed in front of it. Now, everybody have a look to our right. Look at these buildings. They're between 100 and 300 years old. I want you all against me to give that a chance for a point, okay? This is Wellington Barracks, home of the 1st Battalion, the Grenadier Guards. They're on duty at the back in combat uniform. I say that collectively you won't get them waving. Your driver thinks that you will. I say that you won't. Up to you, here they are.
Hooray!
They didn't wave, did they?
Yes.
Oh no they didn't. Oh no they didn't.
Yes, they did.
Okay, you might help these girls out, you lot. You're all together. Well done, everybody. Now this is Petite-France. This is where we had our passport office. And where Al Fayed, the owner of Harrods, used to queue every week for his passport. Didn't get it, did he? How you doing? On our right is the little street which houses New Scotland Yard. Famous for detectives, famous for the Black Museum. Just recently somebody broke in there and stole all the lavatory seats. There's a big inquiry going on. They have nothing to go on at the moment, but they're looking into it. They'll soon flush them out, but there's a lot of paperwork involved. Ed says, Tony, put the lid on it, you're driving everybody round the bend. La da 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 da. Have a look at the big gold clock up in front. There's something different about that clock. What's different? It's 500 years old. Will it be my team? Will it be Ed's team? Look carefully, both teams. Well done, only has one hand in the shape of an arrow. Well done, my little girl. That's the way they told the time 500 years ago. Now look at this little church. This is where all the lords and ladies get married. And 100 metres down the road, Caxton Hall, where they get their divorces. Now look here, children. Look amongst the leaves here. You see the little tiny crosses with the poppies on. That's to remember some of the soldiers that died. Millions died on our behalf so that we have our freedom today. Next week is the Remembrance Sunday to remember all those dear, dear poor lads and ladies who died for us. When I was a little boy, those lawns there and the middle lawns here used to be covered in crosses. But people forget over the years. Look at my lovely people now. Hardly any poppies amongst you. And yet, millions died for us so we have our freedom today. So sad. The big black crosses are regiments. And the small ones are individuals. Gradually getting less every year, and yet we still walk the same pavements, drink the same water, walk the same streets. Sad. On the corner over here, there's the statue of Sir Winston Churchill. He loved this square. That was his headquarters in there. One evening he was across the road here in a little pub called the Red Lion. He was sitting in there with Lady Astor. She said, Sarah, you're ugly. She said, sir, you're very drunk. He said, madam, you're very ugly, but I'll be sober tomorrow. She said, if I was your wife, I'd put arsenic in your tea. He said, madam, if I was your husband, I'd drink it. So that's him. Over here we have Oliver Cromwell on the left-hand side. They were the Roundheads. They cut the king's head off. And look who we've got over the church door. The king's head, look. Off with his head. They didn't mess about. White House, the first one, not Washington. Over here. Sovereign's entrance to the palace. 5 palaces today, palace number 4. This is the smallest of the royal parks. In the centre is a drinking font to commemorate the abolition of slavery. Pineapple bush. On the columns of the bridge there are pineapples. The lamps of the bridge are decorated with pineapple. The pineapple is the insignia of the people of Lambeth. That's where we're going now. That's where I come from. Over here there's the MI5 spy building, internal spying affairs. Not to be confused where we get onto the river. That's MI6. External spying affairs. Here, Dick Barton, special agent. Across the river, James Bond, special agent. Now across the river stood Royal Doldrums Potteries. Pottery made in the world. Sadly, there's only a few buildings left down the side streets. That building there with a big poppy on it, Jeffrey Archer's building, top floor, 6.5 million. Mezzanine floor, 2.5 million. Jacuzzi, swimming pool, theatre, library, gymnasium. Crime doesn't pay, so they say. If you look through the gap here, you'll see the oval cricket ground gasometer at the Surrey County Cricket Ground. Roughly from that area through to the river was the Vauxhall Pleasure Gardens. It was the playground of Europe. On a good night there, 12,000 gentlemen enjoying themselves. 4,000 courtesans, if you know what I mean. Little ones like ours used to go down between the barges. They were called mudlarks. They waited for low tide. They walked through the thousands of barges that were there in those days. And then they collected coal, washed it, sold it, get bread money for that day. Many hundreds in the course of a year were swept away and drowned, the little mudlarks. These days, with the Heritage Centre, I get to take the kids out. We do modern day mudlarking, and the girls are marvellous. They make collages up from the bits of pipe and buttons and pottery they find, and the boys collect the driftwood for carving. The girls are marvellous, and the boys drive me absolutely... But that's children for you. You're okay, you lot.